I'm going to show you one of the best game prizes from the amateur chess organisation Over 50s World Championship held in Crete last October. Before we look at this game, which is sensational, I have to say, it's just unbelievable. Let me tell you about the amateur chess organisation and the events they've got coming up. In fact, this event in Crete is taking place again from the 1st to the 10th of October. I cannot recommend it highly enough. I'll be there again. I love it. Love the events. This combines a chess tournament with a holiday. So it's really relaxed atmosphere. It's a 5-star hotel, wonderful hotel, great food. Apart from the tournaments themselves, there are blitz tournaments. There are lectures. I give talks and lectures there. I'm one of the 3 grandmasters there. We give analysis after participants have played their games. I'm giving lectures, give simuls as well. If you want to check it out, have a look at the ACO website. I'll put the link down in the comments in the video description as well. And if you want to book, there is a €200 early bird discount if you book before the end of March. And I tell you what, places get booked up really quickly, so do check it out if you're interested. They've also got an event coming up in Kos. I think it might in May. That might be booked up, but you can check that out. There might be 1 or 2 spots still available. Anyway, let's take a look at this game, which is absolutely sensational. So, here we go. With white, René Tueckmantel, and with black, Dr. Wolfgang Schnellenpfeil. And as I said, played in Crete in the ACO World Championship in October. And this is just mad. So, here we go. Could be a King's Indian. White plays knight c3. So here, this is the famous barrier attack, bishop f4. But black decides, okay, just going to allow white to go into a pit. h3. Yeah, don't have to play h3, but bishop g5. So this is a provocative move. And black is duly provoked, and the bishop just dropped back to e3. Now we can see why the pawn went to h3 to stop knight g4. And I think white would be very happy to see h6 played, because it means that white wins a nice tempo with queen d2. But also, the king has popped up the h file, and this gives white something to bite on with the pawn on h6, maybe g4, g5, maybe h4, h5. Castle's queenside. So it's quite clear that battle lines are being drawn. The king heads for this side of the board, and then it's possible to go for just an all-out attack on the king. So black needs play here. Black needs counterplay. Knight d7 with the idea e5 perhaps. But this allows d5, and this knight gets pushed around. If it comes into the middle, well, that's also pretty painful. Knight b4 played, and now this knight gets pushed around. Knight d4. And now black is thinking, okay, well, how do I get any play in this position at all? Can't play c5, can't play e5, they both just get taken. So black now played knight b8, which is pretty extraordinary. I mean, what a journey this knight has had. That's where it started, and that's where it's ended up. So, I mean, it's clear that white has the advantage here. White has a lovely space advantage, is very well developed. So what next? Well, you want to launch an attack on the king. If you control the centre, you want to head towards the king. So f4 played. Very natural. Claims more space in the centre, takes away the e5 square. c6, okay, black is fighting back. And now white goes for g4, so there's this kind of tsunami of pawns heading towards black's king. But I know black is very far behind with his own counterplay, but still I think white should be absolutely direct here. I think h4 is a better move because that threatens to open things up straight away. g4 is good, but it doesn't threaten to open up the position immediately. Every move counts, even though it looks like black is really far behind. Every move counts. And again, this move, knight e2, I don't see what's wrong with knight f3. And then h4, h5. Knight stands well here. But knight e2, a6, knight g3, the knight is swinging around to the king side. b5, counterplay, and that gives black a little something to bite on, and bishop e2. And now b4. So let's just think what's happened over the past few moves. White played 1, 2 moves with the knight and another move with the bishop. 3 moves without getting going with the pawns, and that's given black time to get in b5. It would have been much simpler just to go knight f3, and if a6, you start with h4 and h5, and you crack open the king side. So even though white looks to have a massive advantage here, in fact, those moves, while they're all very well, but they've given black a chance. Black has counterplay. So let's see what happens next. And this knight has actually quite a tricky decision to make. You know, I would like to play to a4, but it's not very good. Suddenly, this is looking very uncomfortable for white. So the knight went back to a2 instead, which is, it's not the most beautiful spot for the knight. Black certainly has counterplay. Now, watch what happens next. h4. So finally, after some distraction on the queen side, white gets going on the king side. So it's good. Time to launch the attack again. Bishop a6 and h5. Good. Excellent. We're getting there. White is starting to get there on the king side. Bishop takes. And white decides to crack open the h-file. Excellent. Queen takes. So that look is now, or the rook is now looking really good. And now fair play to black, because black decides, okay, well, frankly, anything I do on the king side is not going to help. Probably true. So black just decides, look, I've just got to go for it. g5, white is breaking through. And now it's just too late to try and close the position on the king side. Because h5 will be met by knight takes and the queen crashes through. So again, I think black very sensibly decides just to go for it and try to open lines, and you know, you've got to hope that this is going to be a major distraction, or black is simply going to break through as well. Okay, what do you play here? Well, white played a brave move. Rook takes h6. Excellent. You could play the knight out here, but again, it's kind of too late to be careful here for both sides. I think, you know, fair play to both players. They realise it's too late to be careful. You just got to go for it. And after bishop takes, the queen swings across, and that is mate. Nice. So the king came back to g8. And rook takes g6. Again, this is really courageous, because that pawn is just one step from queening. Really scary. Now, you could play king d2 here, but white's in a hurry. I understand it. This is great stuff. In fact, well, my computer tells me that king d2 is winning. How you'd divine this in a game is anybody's guess. The move that Herr Tueckmantel played is bishop d4 check, and it looks completely winning. If king g8, then queen h5. But black comes up with an amazing defense, an incredible defense. First of all, e5. Well, that gets taken en passant. Check. And the knight hopped into e5. And incredibly, this is defending for black. For example, if pawn takes knight, black gets a queen. This didn't happen, folks. Queen g5 check. Queen takes knight. And basically, white has run out of pieces. Black is 2 rooks up. And the queen is helping to defend, actually, by covering the king. So suddenly, the boot is on the other foot. This is incredible. So king d2 played, preventing the pawn queening. So what's the material balance? Not that it really matters. Well, it matters a bit. White's a rook down, but still with a huge attack. Knight c6, hitting the bishop. This is very cool. White doesn't panic. Bishop c3. In fact, you know, my computer tells me that this is a mistake and that actually knight h5 check should force a draw. Certainly not obvious, because it feels like something like this should be best, but actually rook g1 incredibly is winning. With best play, this should be a draw with these knight checks, but yeah, absolutely not obvious. And besides, bishop c3, I think it's a brave move. It keeps the tension. In fact, the best move for black here is to play rook takes f4. And after this, you take here. Queen g5. And again, remarkably, black should be winning this, but again, not obvious. Queen g2, knight g4. And apparently black is winning this. Again, how one divines this in a game. Probably both players were short of time. King g8, stepping out of the pin. Fair enough. Knight f5. I mean, all bets are off in this position. Rook a7 looks very reasonable. The rook can cover along here. In fact, rook h1 is a winning move here. Incredibly, again. But knight h6 check doesn't look bad. And the knight came back again, so maybe white was thinking maybe it's time for a draw, but black didn't want it. King g6, black is playing for the win. It's incredible. We've now got both kings sort of staggering up the board. Unbelievable. This was probably a bit much, king g6 actually. Rook h1 is a good move, followed by knight h6 and queen h5. But listen, there are so many moves that look good. I mean, this looks good. And it's sort of very understandable that white wanted to get the queen in like this, first of all. And yeah, no doubt time pressure was involved. And apparently black is now winning. Mad. But it looks absolutely terrifying. Here black should take this. But king h8 played. Whoops, sorry, king h8. I'm trying to make this as confusing as possible, of course. f5. Right. Time for you to have a little think. I'll have my tea time, folks. You have a little think. Black to play. What would you do here? How should black play? This is move 39, so probably black had 2 more moves before the time control. Black to play. What do you do? Cheers. Well, queen e8 was played, which is kind of understandable because black is a rook up and wants to exchange queens. In fact, d5 is a very strong move here. Breaking through to the king, and of course that rook is guarding A1, and there's nothing immediate for white at the other end of the board. So D5 was strong. Anyway, Queen E8 played, G6, the game careers on. Now, this is pretty extraordinary because pawn takes queen, and you know this looks pretty good. Rook takes knight threatened, but Herr Tueckmantel came up with an excellent move here. This is really good. Now, I don't know, this is move 41. I'm not quite sure what the time control, whether they'd reach the time control or not. But in any case, this is a fantastic move. F6 check. Great stuff. So if rook takes, knight F5 check, followed by queen takes rook. So this move clears the F5 square. So king takes F6. Now, there was actually a way to win here. Queen H4. Now this is clever. That's a mistake because that would allow knight F3 check. But first of all, you play Queen H3, and then you take the rook, and this one isn't so scary. Should be winning, still not completely clear. But in any case, white played Rook F1. Queen H3, there's more fun. Knight F5. I'm surprised that this wasn't taken. But King D8 played. Pawn takes. Now what is going on here? Okay, now something incredible happens. So where would you put that king, folks? Surely back on E2, but no. King D4 played. Well, I love the spirit that this game is played in. King D4, cannon to the right, cannon to the left of them. King D4. Queen C6 played, which looks quite scary, considering that that's checkmate. Queen H4, check. The queen comes in. Bishop B4, that covers Queen C5. And now knight takes B2, queen takes D6, and white's king has actually survived. And now we're into the endgame. And white is going to mop up on this side of the board. The knight is not quite trapped, but, well, close enough. It's now losing. Yeah, actually it is. Of course, the rook is on prise. Yeah. So rook here takes, king takes, and here black decided to give up, possibly through sheer exhaustion. Well, this one does look like it's winning, as white is a bishop and a pawn up. Fantastic spirit. I mean, you know, there were some great ideas in there. I would say for the last, I don't know, 20 odd moves, if you look at this with a computer, the needle kind of flicks between white is winning, black is winning, white is winning, black is winning, and in the middle there's sort of should be equal or perpetual checks in there as well. But yeah, the needle was twitching both, you know, to both extremes, white winning and black winning. An incredible game. You know, in a way, I think both players deserve something. But well done to René Tueckmantel for winning that game. Excellent stuff. And, well, unlucky Dr. Schnellenpfeil, who put up great resistance. So as I said, do check out the link to the ACO website. These are fantastic tournaments. There's great chess played. It's a really nice atmosphere. And I hope to see some of you there.